Annyeonghaseyo. Hey everyone, let's start healing. I'm Adrianne Murchison, and thank you for joining us for episode 27 of the Let's Start Healing podcast. I just greeted you with a very special hello in Korean. And you know what we like to say? We have more in common than we think, and what we have in common can change the world. We have a very special guest today who is Korean. Before I introduce you to him, I want to let you know that this episode is brought to you in part by Denver-based Diamond Light Images Photography. Traveling photographer Justin Murchison specializes in a variety of works, from scenic landscapes to weddings, graduations, and other events. Diamond Light Images captures the gemstones of every memory, experience, and occasion. You can reach Diamond Light Images at 757-650-3334 or follow on Instagram at Diamond Light Images. This episode is also brought to you in part by Nicole Gabrielle Skincare and Cosmetics for today's lifestyle. Forward-thinking founder Nicole Gabrielle has been licensed in the aesthetics industry for more than 20 years and provides her high-quality cosmetic and skincare line with every type of face, lip, cheek, and body in mind. Nicole Gabrielle Skincare and Cosmetics are created especially for you. Products are available online at NicoleGabrielle.com. That's spelled NicoleGabriell.com. Also, follow on Facebook and Instagram at Nicole Gabrielle Skincare. So our guest today is Kevin Koh of Soul Body LA. Kevin is officially an energy alignment practitioner, and he will go into that when you meet him. But I will tell you that he is truly an energy healer. I have been trying to think of the best way to characterize Kevin. It's so clear in my mind, and I'm trying to find the words. You know how so many of us have an inherent ability? You know, some people have an inherent ability to connect with other people. Some people have an inherent ability for a certain talent that might be piano playing, or it might be sports, it might be football, it might be basketball. Some people might be inherently intuitive. And Kevin is a very intuitive person. That's very much a part of the services that he provides. What I find so wonderful about him is that he is a regular person like you or me, and he has this inherent ability to access God within himself in a much more expedient way than most of us. There's something that I know, and what I know is where God is. I know that God is in every single one of us. And I'm one of those people that walks around and I don't always access God within myself. But Kevin not only has a way of accessing God within himself in such a clear and distinct way, he has a way of helping other people access God within themselves. And I just find that beautiful, wonderful, and phenomenal. So he's going to talk to us about the services that he offers, how he came to recognize these talents within himself. He also recently donated a kidney to his father, and he'll be speaking on that a little bit. What Kevin does in his healing work is help us to release the emotional energy blocks within ourselves and connect with God. In our conversation, I touch on one of the first conversations that I had with him. I met him through a friend when a friend had a get together, and I saw him engaged in his energy work with another friend, and I could see that he was for real. And probably a couple of months later, I called him knowing that he gives energy sessions over the phone. At the time that I called him, and I'll go into this in our conversation, I had recently met someone that I was dating. It was very new, and already I was experiencing some agita with the person that I was seeing. And there was some emotion coming up in me, and I realized that it didn't really have to do with this person that I barely knew. It really had to do with my father. And I hadn't dated anyone in a while before I met this person, and I realized that I was feeling some abandonment issues. And it wasn't because my father had abandoned me in any way other than the fact that he passed away. And he passed away at a very significant time in my life. I was 21, and I've come to realize that I have a lot of pain around not only him passing, but the time in my life that he passed. So I talked to Kevin about that, and we did some meditations on the phone. And in the subsequent times that I've talked with him for healing sessions, he has helped me to heal around the loss of my father. I've had sessions with Kevin on the phone. I've had sessions with him in person, and they have been equally powerful. So let's meet him. Let's get started, and let's start healing. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You are an energy alignment practitioner and a holistic trainer.
Yes.
So explain to our listeners what that means.
So I am a certified personal trainer, but my concentration is in holistic energy work. So I was certified to do Reiki. I also was certified to do Qigong, different modalities in Eastern medicine by Dr. Mark in Atlanta. So I was able to integrate these ancient Chinese techniques, Eastern techniques, to integrate the body's energy and integrate that with personal training. So fitness, calisthenics, things that deal with jumping, squatting. I've been able to find different techniques to help people harness their energetic power as well as their physical power in a workout.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So I've had sessions with you, and I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. That's the work that we've done specifically was more of the energy. It was more of the metaphysical work done in the astral realm, since it was done on the phone. So it was meditative. So the different aspects of my business, Soul Body LA, is we have a physical component, we have a energy component, a spiritual component. So there is a, I guess you say, a shamanic experience that deals with the sessions I do. So yeah, I mean, it's really, what you need. What do you need to do? Yeah.
So we also had sessions in person. Well, one session in person that I can think of. And I just think of it as having a sense of where my energy blocks are inside. Right. Is that a correct way to look at it?
Yeah, that would be the reading.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the reading, and the energy alignment session afterwards is like the cleansing and the alignment. It's the realignment as we cleanse and purge.
So I have to use myself as an example because you're so general right now. So I say, you know what, I'm feeling funky about this or that.
Yeah.
And then, but you also were intuitively told me I'm sensing a block in certain areas. Yeah. And we talked through that. And then you took me through, let's say this part is on the phone, and we'll talk about in person in a minute. Right. And then you took me through a meditation.
Right. So the reading that we did was a chakra reading. So I do energy readings as well. And every session or assessment starts with energy reading. And the energy readings are based off what's going on in the chakras. The chakras have seven different vortexes in the body, and they also hold information. So I go through each chakra to see if there's any messages, if there's any, incongruent patterns. And based off of my intuitive insight, I could have a conversation with you based on what's coming up in the reading. And after we get the assessment done and we have the consultation of, okay, this is what's going on, then I can provide solutions for you. And in the session, it's an interactive session because I'm participating with you. We go through different parts of the body using breath work and using Reiki, using different forms of energy to really get present to these moments of trauma, which is pretty much what it is, that are locked in the body. And I've been able to find different ways to balance the body through breath work and through meditation and through Reiki and Qigong. And that's what, is going to happen by the end of a session.
So you're understating a little bit because I know you mentioned intuitive, but you walked up to me, I know, at our friend Jazz's home, and you were like, "Look, you blocked over in here. I'm not gonna let people know too much of my business, but
I was gonna This is the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember now. On the table, hey, we was in front of everybody.
Well, I wasn't on the table, so this is what happened. A friend, you did a reading of her. She hadn't met you before either. And she said, yes, that's accurate.
Right.
And so based on that, I knew that I wanted to get in touch with you later.
Right.
But before we left that day, before I went home that day, you walked up to me and said, hey, you got some blockage going on.
I'll be out of line.
Down in this personal area.
I'll be out of line.
But and we were talking offline about how, and I appreciate it, about how you can get real, you can be real, because these are your words. You were like, you need to clear this shit up. That's exactly what you said, and so speak to that. I mean, I was more paying attention to what you said. I don't take offense. I kind of like that, So
clear your shit up is pretty much getting present to all of the stuff that we resist, right? Because if you go through any day, we're really processing thoughts and we sometimes can overthink. And it's really because there's these deep triggers within our mind, our soul that happened probably within this week, last week, a few months back, all the way to childhood. But, there's different patterns and there's different levels of these moments of trauma that have affected us. It could go from like, hey, I don't have enough money, to, hey, I have relationship problems. And then you could go into signs of where you've abused money or you have been abused. You're really seeing the pattern of your thoughts and you're breaking it down. So clear your shit is not just like mentally processing or thinking through it, but it's also getting present to the emotional attachments that are already there, but we're in denial of. It's like we push it away. We don't want to be responsible for it. And it's like these profound realizations of yourself that are extremely uncomfortable because in today's society, we built ways to create this beautiful mask. And we're all walking around with this mask.
Absolutely.
And, and now that the mask might be crumbling, people might be like, oh my God, what I do? Let me hurry up and find ways to create this mask, put this mask back together. But really, in ego death, as they quote unquote say, or in transformation work, it's really getting present to the real you inside and peeling the layers of the masks or the multiple masks that you have. And the masks are created by severe moments of trauma. It's like that moment when you're like, oh, this isn't safe. Something that could have happened outside of your will. It wasn't your choice. It's not safe to be here, or like it's not safe to be like this. When you don't feel safe and then you go into a protective mode, you have to be strong or you have to be a certain way. and you use that as a way to protect yourself. And I'm not saying that I'm here to break those things. I'm just here to help you release the clog.
Right.
Stuff.
I was going to say that. So we store that stuff in that lower area.
Yeah.
That's true for men too? Because I can relate as a woman.
For women, you could manifest fibroids. You can manifest womb issues. Men, you could manifest prostate cancer, or you can manifest erectile dysfunction. It's really specifically in that area that we're talking about. The sacral chakra or sacral chakra is a space where we hold a lot of our emotions and our sexual energy, because sexual energy and emotions are hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that area tends to be blocked whenever we punish ourselves, or we feel guilty about something, or we judge ourselves. So that area doesn't really get the full chi energy, blood flow.
Can we go through the chakras?
Yeah.
I know recently the sacral chakra, I wrote down something you said, and this relates to what you just said actually, where humiliation issues can just sit in that sacral area. And then the root chakra, you had mentioned, that's where I am, I be.
Mm-hmm.
I have written down, and the solar plexus, I will, I do, I have. Can you go through all of the chakras?
So the root chakra is the base chakra, and that's at the base of the spine, and it's connected from the perineum, which is located between your genitals and your anus, going all the way down your legs to your feet. And this is where you ground with the earth. So this is like survival. This is foundation. This is tribe. This is home. This is identity. This is safety. This is money. Like you're good. This is material energy. The next is the sacral chakra, and this chakra deals with sex. So this is all the issues that deal with sexual power, sexuality, sensuality, emotions, anything that deals with creativity. If you notice cultures that do a lot of hip movement and booty shaking, that is actually an activation for the sacral chakra. And it's actually very ritualistic. It's a very powerful movement. So glute activation, whether that's twerking, whether that's squatting, whether that's deadlifts.
Oh, glute. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glute activation, hip activation. That movement of the hips and the genitals is very powerful in conjuring your sensuality. So the next chakra will be the third chakra. Well, actually, let's go back. So the second chakra will be blocked if you're dealing with emotional issues, sexual issues, issues with surrendering, issues with letting go, not trusting in your creativity. Going down, the root chakra will be blocked when you are scared, you don't want to move forward, and you're having issues with like your material world. They're usually working when you are in flow with money and you have a strong foundation, you're real focused, you move forward. And the sacral chakra is open when you are in tune with your sexuality and when you are able to express yourself freely.
And with the root chakra, is that where it's really important to breathe? I think you mentioned something recently about wanting to be here.
Right.
I have a friend who's always telling me, breathe, breathe. And I'm thinking, why is that so important? To take
breath.
To take those deep breaths. And what you said made sense to me, to demonstrate that I want to be here.
Right.
And you mentioned the lungs too,
right.
which I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
probably.
that'll be the fourth.
Okay.
Be the fourth chakra.
So, but speak to that if you can.
So breathing is just life force, it's chi. So when you breathe into the lower centers, you're kind of activating your primordial force. You are activating your primordial force. So this is the energy of creation. This is the energy of confidence. This is the energy of, hey, I'm here. I don't mind being here. Hey, just like one of my teachers, Mrs. Peak, would say, if people all had better sex, the world wouldn't be in so much war.
I agree.
So it's because we have collectively in the world or in society, we have such twisted or knotted up sexual energy that these things are coming down because a lot of us in this world today are suffering and don't frankly want to be here or deal with this reality. You know, if you think about a lot of these people aren't really in their root chakras and the sacral chakras if they are constantly programming themselves to think something happy or, you know, to make you be in denial of what's really going on emotionally.
And that's really important, because then if we get sick or something goes wrong in our bodies, we don't understand why. We don't understand that we really have been subconsciously sending a signal that we don't want to be here.
Right.
Within our bodies. Is that right?
Yeah. Because if you look at it, the womb is the portal into this matrix. The vagina is the portal into this matrix. And when it is blocked, it's like kind of killing off the door into here, as well as the penis. So these centers or these organs that create life get twisted up. The meaning or connection to life gets skewed. And I think that's what's kind of going on right now. But anything, there's like a rectification of this energy
on the planet right now, you think? Wow. Okay, so what's the next one going up? Solar plexus?
So the next stop is the solar plexus. And the solar plexus deals with your willpower. This deals with your confidence. This deals with how much you're worth. This is action. This is literally just like stepping up and like, you know what? I'm worth this much, and this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to attract. This is how my day's going to go. And I'm going to do the 4 or 5 things I said I was going to do. And I'm going to make it the way I wanted to make it.
So how important are strong abs?
Core, I mean, if you want to take it to the physical aspect, if you have a weak core, you can't work out because you'll always get injured.
Well, as it relates to what you just said.
Yeah.
I mean, how important is that?
Well, that's what I'm saying is that physically, without the core, you know, it's hard for things to hold in place. So energetically, without a strong core, you're not really doing anything to really make things transform. Because it's like, this is the doing energy. This is the doing to have energy. This is the confidence energy. This is self-care. This is literally where you take care of yourself and you prioritize that.
That's amazing.
So you got oil change, you're going to do that by this. You got to, you know, oh, the doctor said you have high blood pressure. In 2 weeks, you're going to do this. You're going to get rid of it. This is the, you know what? I'm confident in my reason to be here. And my purpose to be here, so I'm gonna make sure I take care of myself.
Because it's almost like if you're in a plane and you're supposed to take care of yourself before you're a child,
right.
Like you have to take care of you.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
And not only when I say these chakras are open, because sometimes these chakras can be overactive. So in a reading, if the solar plexus seems really overactive, this can be someone who's really controlling.
Like alphas.
Yeah. It's because they do and they know because they're overconfident or arrogant, they get everything they want. So this might become someone who becomes controlling. Or because they were violated before and they weren't feeling safe that they had to control everything, they had to hurry up and find a way to control stuff.
Well, so where is someone operating if they tend to let people control them? What are they operating from?
From drained solar plexus. So the solar plexus would actually be drained, blocked, or clogged, or just blocked off. Because the solar plexus is a space that deals with power. So when we give power, we could either like, hey, you could take my chi. I'm like kind of like giving your attention to this person. So your solar plexus energy isn't being active, or you're not activating your own because you're constantly giving or feeding to other people than yourself. Because literally the third chakra is self-care. It's self-care transformation. It's about you. And if you want to talk about the overactive chakras, we'll go back. So the root chakra, when it's overactive, it could be someone who's shown to be like maybe a little greed, someone a little bit too much in survival mode, not really thinking about the best interests of others. Heavy or overactive sacral chakra would be someone who is abusing sex, or is like using the sexual energy to manipulate. It's all about balance. Right. So really there's no good or bad chakras. There's no evil chakras that you need to get rid of. You're not getting rid of chakras. Chakras are always going to be there. It's just literally balancing your earth energies with your heaven energies.
which we have to do because we're here. We were talking about that. So what about the heart?
So the heart chakra deals with love, and this deals with your relationship to how you let love in and how you give love to others. So if you're a person who has gone through some heartbreak, or there is trauma regarding self-love based off of relationship with others, or if you're so loving and you just want to love everyone, but people just use the shit out you, or just people will take advantage of you. These are all different aspects of where an imbalanced heart chakra will show up in a reading. So yeah, heartbreak could close a heart chakra.
What if your heart chakra is good?
Oh, you're
then
like,
you're
balanced.
You love yourself, you love others.
Yeah.
You're operating from that heart space.
Yeah. There's like spaces where you're in like a healthy heart chakra, or your heart chakra is in a healthy state when you're like, your balance of self-love and loving others is congruent with each other. Like they both can match each other. So you're not like, thinking about yourself and not thinking about others.
Right.
And just thinking about others and not thinking about yourself. This is about really being able to master the art of giving and receiving love.
Okay. So throat.
Throat chakra deals with truth. So this is where you come and speak your truth. So a throat chakra could be blocked if you're lying. And a throat chakra can be blocked if you are just afraid to say something. Like there's something that you don't want to talk about, or there's something that you don't feel safe to talk about. And if you have an overactive throat chakra, it could be that you just talk too damn much. You're just one of those people who just be thinking, and they just they love to hear themselves talk.
They just can't shut the hell up.
Yeah, shut the hell up. And you got like 5, 6 people watching or listening to you, and you're constantly. And these people tend to be in their thoughts and talk about stuff a lot, but don't do. Like they kind of abuse the expression energy. So yeah, there's some people that love to talk, and these people who love to talk, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with talking. Talking is important. This is essential. Communication is everything. But with the overactive throat chakra, you could be in a space where you're constantly talking about stuff and complaining about stuff, or just constantly expressing the pain or the trauma, but you're not really going down in the lower chakras to transform it, to do the work, to release it. You're not really trying new things to shift the direction of it. You're constantly just sitting and talking about your pain, and you're now having or inviting enablers to sit there and listen to you.
It can be a little confusing, the throat chakra, because you want to speak your truth,
right? And
you don't want to hurt anyone. Like, what's a healthy balance? I'm wondering. I guess you just take it moment by moment.
A healthy balance, in terms of at least the chakra world, is when you're honest. When you speak the truth, you go straight to it. You don't have this jargon. I think there's like this trend where like we're very poetic. And we like to kind of like, conjure this experience up. And, I'm not saying that we shouldn't express ourselves, because, hey, you need to speak, and,
But a lot of people can't handle the truth.
People can't handle the truth.
I mean, the simplest of truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ones who do speak their truth and know how to say it in a way where the other person gets it, that is when you have a balanced throat chakra. It's when you could communicate with ease and joy, but you're still living your truth, and you ain't afraid.
Right.
Because the reason why a lot of us, it's not like we're intentionally trying to be liars. It's just that some people are just afraid that if they were to speak it, they might get attacked. Or somebody might harm them, or, they were doing a good deed. Like a friend was expressing about how she was doing a good deed for her friend, and she stayed at her house for a whole year without paying no rent. The friend pretty much was scared to tell her friend, hey, you've been here for a year and you ain't paying no rent. What? I think the fear was so intense of what and how that person would react if she were to address, hey, you're overstepping some boundaries and it's time for you to go. that a dire circumstance had to go where, you know, things had to end.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But then it wasn't from a space of like, hey, let me communicate with you clearly. It was because there was so much fear there that the throat chakra was blocked. So those are cases where a throat chakra can be blocked.
I need to say this is not me because I have had people stay with me and family, as a matter of fact. So that's not me.
Yeah. No, you know, but this is a lot of people where you're such a kind person, and this person's energy, her heart chakra might have been maybe even overactive to compensate for where she was lacking in her throat chakra. Because, you know, the energy is like, you know, you can have a really overactive crown chakra and an underactive root chakra. So it's really about maintaining the balance. But in this case, she was giving away her chi, or she was providing a lot of her love to this person, and that person took advantage of that energy, and they made a consciousness or an experience make it feel like the person or the owner of the house was scared to communicate. So therefore, because this person who was the owner has so much love, she let her stay. So in that energy, it just shows you that sometimes in certain circumstances, you might be such a loving person, you might be a great person, you know, you might really be there for the highest interest of everyone else, but then you're going to be the one left behind.
Right.
And that's not healthy either.
Well, you know, I want to give another example too, because you really helped me. I called you once, and I had been in, like, I had met someone, knew someone for like a very short period of time. But I knew that the issues that were coming up for me around this person had to do with my father, and he's not living. And just my father being gone, and, you know, I just knew some stuff was coming up. And so you took me through a meditation, which I feel relates to what you just said. And I write down stuff that you say. And you said, I forgive you for having harmed me.
Yeah.
And please forgive me for having harmed you, you know, unknowingly.
Right.
I release you.
Right.
Or please release me.
Right.
And I wish I had it in front of me because I wrote it in my journal.
That's actually a karma cleanse. And Queen Alchemist, she had taught me that. She's one of my associates, mentors as well. And that this is also relates to there's a Hawaiian poem, like the please forgive me, I love you. You know that one?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's these different poems or these different affirmations out there that deal with the healing and acceptance energy. Because acceptance is the first step. The first step is facing it.
Right.
And then accepting it. And then embracing it. Right? Because embracing means that, you actually have to hold on to it. You have to be responsible for it. And there's something that happens when you transmute it from victim to responsibility. And in a space of responsibility, then you could you could find let it go. But until you get to that space of you, and I know this is really hard to say because I'm not saying that victims should be responsible, because there's some people out here that really get fucked up. Like people who were not expecting to get effed up. But in the world of healing, when you get to a space of acceptance, you could finally be responsible for your own healing. Yes.
And I think you're saying, because I've done this, you know, on your advice, to let ourselves feel the pain.
Right.
And we think that that's the last thing we should do.
Right.
And if anything, we'll attract more, and it's going to hurt so bad and all of that. Right. But you're saying that the way that we can heal and release it is by just letting ourselves feel it.
Right.
And feeling is not, it's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
Just let ourselves feel it. And let me tell you, that did change my life. You said spend 20 minutes in meditation a day, just letting yourself just feel the worst just get with it. You have to get with this shit. You got to let it go. That's what you were saying, right?
Right.
And so I did that, and I put on music that I like to meditate to, and I just let myself go in a space, and I let myself just be in this pain.
Right.
And I could not believe how close I felt to God. I couldn't believe
That's
it.
beautiful.
I could not believe it, because
Wow.
who would think that?
Yeah. That the pain will lead to God.
It has helped me to heal, but sometimes I forget. But I'll go into a forgiveness, a releasing, letting myself feel the thing,
Right.
but also saying I love you, and
Yeah.
just
Well, the thing what they say, if in order to heal, you need to feel. And, that technique is emotional. It's called emotional yoga. Emotional yoga, I was taught by Mr. Pete. And this is a form of emotional training for you to just be present to your emotions. Now, as a society, we so damn whitewashed with this positive vibes only thing that we aren't really present to some of the shit that is going on in our hearts.
right.
We constantly but then this is like some real pain. And this route is a little bit more towards like the Buddhism route because, in Buddhism, they say life is pain and suffering, right? So just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
This whole exercise is really you just getting present to the pain that's already there. It's not like you're conjuring it.
Right.
You're just
Unlocking
you're
it.
unlocking it
So
so
it
it
can
could go.
disappear.
It could
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are people that could abuse this technique and almost stay in it so they could, be right about how effed up their lives are. That's possible too. Because some people are super emotional and they are just super emotional and they stay in that, like I said earlier, the complaining state. So you can also abuse, your emotions as well. But there's that balance where collectively we've been suppressed or we suppressed our emotions. And in that suppression of emotions, we have not been feeling the real deal stuff that has been affecting us.
Right.
And we want to know why we depressed.
That's the majority of the population.
That's the majority of the population.
Although there is a shift going on, I believe, an awakening.
People are waking up.
Yeah.
Oh, people are waking. Well, they say before the wake up is when stuff get real. Shit needs to hit the fan. Mm-hmm. So I'm always for this energy of just breaking up apart the emotions. And I also teach, in my classes, ways to release anger. Mm-hmm. We've been so suppressed to just, it's like we've been suppressing our emotions, whether it's fear, be strong.
Right.
If it's don't cry, I better not see a cry come out. I think this is similar in Black and Asian cultures as well, where your emotions, you can't cry. You ain't got time to cry. Get up. It's time to move, Yeah. And if you grew up with that, it's hard for you to grieve. And I feel like a lot of people just need to grieve.
Right. Right.
Especially men.
So let's go to the third eye and then the crown chakra. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the third eye is your psychic eye. This is the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is activated in its role in the pineal gland or in its body is the sleep and dream state. So it really regulates sleep. Now, this is the trippy part. It's not just about what time you sleep at. Like, okay, I sleep at 10 p.m. I wake up at 8. It's like when they say, oh, you woke, like you're waking up. Like you're really awake.
We walk around in
daydream. We're all walking in daydreams. I mean, a lot of us are walking out in our illusions, and we don't realize it.
Absolutely.
So this is a point where you can start activating your ability to see, and in that space of activating your ability to see, you just are more present to truth.
What can people do to do that?
There are multiple things. I recommend meditating. Meditation is a good tool to activate the pineal gland because you're using your imagination. So when you actively use your imagination, that could actually enhance clarity and vision, intuition. I would do breathing techniques to breathe into the brain. I'll also see what type of foods you eat, because there's a type of
That's
foods.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge
Yeah.
because of everything that's in food now.
Yeah. Well, it calcifies the pineal gland. So, you know, if you out here eating crazy, it's going to be hard for you to really get in touch with spirit.
Right.
You know, eating that McDonald's. You wonder why you can't hear none of these messages. You know, you wonder why you got to talk to spirit. You're here eating Big Mac and fries and drinking Coke, you know, like.
to know that that's true and that it's not a judgment is to just not eat, to fast. I mean, all you have to do is fast, and then you'll feel the difference.
You'll feel the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I recommend fasting. I know that you could do fast from the morning till night, like Ramadan, or you could do fast where, you know, you don't eat for 5 to 10 days, like liquid fast. You know, I've done the master cleanse. I did the master cleanse for 23 days before, so I had no food for 23 days. I just had the liquid drink.
How was that?
That was amazing because I was so in touch with spirit. Like I had no food, so I was constantly just like channeling. But almost, I feel like every time after a fast, I get a download. Like something happens. I realize something, or I feel something different, and my meditations always seem different after a fast.
And how do you breathe into this gland?
So one technique that I do teach my clients is to breathe through the nose and to breathe into your eyes. And as you roll your eyes back, to focus your attention on the center of your forehead.
Oh, so like you have a headache almost. Okay.
Yeah. So you're breathing the air from your nose into the center of your forehead.
Wow.
And when you do that, you just start noticing like your vision will start getting clearer. There's just more blood now going to that area.
Okay.
I would, you know, put the phone away at night. They say that blue light energy, I think it's called blue light.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's called blue light, right? So TVs, cell phones, screens, they're just saying that there's just way too many waves.
Oh.
Yeah, we got way too many things from blue light screens.
Okay.
Whether it's from the TV, phone, screens, anything, it's just too much. So, you know, I recommend.
Move that energy away from you.
Yeah, don't be so close to it. I mean, yeah, I know we're on the phone all days, but one way to, you know, keep that third eye open is to...
You have to stay connected to yourself.
Stay connected to yourself. Now, I don't mean go out there and not watch your favorite TV show, or go out there and shame yourself if you really want to participate in some ratchet shit. If you want to go out there and have fun, I'm all saying be that, but then just know that there's a point when you're using this fun to run away from your problems.
Exactly. Like I used to use potato chips.
Right.
Now I use cookies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes,
on occasion.
Yeah, and me personally, I could be talking about how I love smoking blunts. But really, when am I over smoking to not deal with something I need to deal with in the present moment? So you really have to get present to what tools are you using for the best and highest interest for what you want. And then the third eye is about revealing that and seeing that. This is like higher purpose, because now we're going up to the upper chakras. So the 3 chakras below were the earth chakras. This is how you are with your earth energy. This is physical. This is sex. This is money. This is power. This is identity. Heart chakra is the bridge with the earth energy and the heavens. So the heavens is third eye. Throat chakra, communication, messages. Crown is connection to divinity. So that's where we go to the next chakra, which is our crown chakra. And our crown chakra is the chakra that deals with our connection with God, spirit, with the light. This is where you surrender. This is where you allow. This is where you let go and let God. You know, this is where you pray. This is where you meditate. The head is the connection to heaven, and your feet are a connection to the earth. So when you're blocked in the crown chakra, it could be because ego is taking over. You want to be right.
We are here with Kevin Koh of Soul Body LA. Kevin is an energy alignment practitioner and holistic trainer. So let's talk about you and how you got into all of this.
Well, I mean, I grew up in a very spiritual home. Like, my mom is very spiritual. We grew up doing New Year's rituals every year for our ancestors.
Wow. And so your ethnicity is?
I'm Korean. So we have like a whole table with fruits, and my mom would be cooking like 2 days before, like a feast. And then we have like pictures of our grandparents who passed away. And we really, when we'd open the door, and as we opened the door, my dad would ring the bell, and my mom would write calligraphy, and she posted in the back of the little, you know, how those little Chinese windows look. And then we would bow as if they were eating.
As if they were with you.
Yeah. And they were. And at that age, it's crazy because I felt like I was crazy, but I saw them. But I wasn't telling people because I was just bowing and I was talking to them. And like, they would just tell me how proud they were and that, don't worry, things are going to work out. And I did that like all my childhood up to like when we were 13, 14, 15. Maybe longer. But yeah, we grew up doing these New Year's rituals. And, you know, it was deep because we light the candles and then we pour the liquor out. And then we'd like circle the liquor around the incense 3 times. And then we'd take a shot. And then we'll do a shot out for our ancestors, and then we pour it for them.
And that's a tradition throughout Korean culture?
Korean culture.
Wow.
Well, real Korean culture. You know, these new folk. I don't know what the hell going on with my people. We all have our issues with our cultures and my people, but I feel like it is my goal and my intention to help my people, or at least Koreans, energetically reconnect to themselves, because there is a massive disconnect that occurred while we were like on this rush to become this next like power country, like with technology.
Yes.
And since South Korea was one of those countries behind Japan to really ride this technology wave, it also became one of the #1 countries where people commit suicide.
No kidding.
Yeah. So South Korea was listed #1 for committing suicide for lots of years. And I think it was like between them and Suriname. But yeah, suicide is pretty big in South Korea. And that's because of the pressure of success, work, school. So I really want to create techniques where, yeah, you know, I really want to help support economic power. But at the same time, there's also a balance in spiritual power. So I really want Korean people to remember, you know, who they are, where they come from, what we used to do or what we did, what we've been doing. Because, you know, if I was in Korea, I'd be a mudang, and a mudang is a shaman, a Korean shaman. Like, that would be my title. Yeah. And then the things that they do are they have a lot of similarities with African voodoo, with Yoruba.
Really?
With Santeria, yeah, because they do the rituals with the pig sacrifices, the chicken sacrifices. They have the candle, the altar magic. They have the candles. They do their offerings as well. So it was interesting for me to be in Cuba when I went to Cuba and see their palo and their Santeria altars, and to kind of give me a flashback back to when I grew up.
Growing up. Were you an adult at that time?
Yeah, so I went to Cuba 2 years ago. So when I was in Cuba and I saw the altar, I was like, whoa, this is exactly how we did it. So, you know, it's just interesting to just see how all our cultures kind of
blend and touch on each other.
Touch on each other.
So growing up, at what point did you realize that you were intuitive and that this energy was the direction that you wanted to go in?
Well, when I was a kid, I would, you know, I would have frequent night terrors where I couldn't get out of them. So I had my eyes open, but they couldn't wake me up. Yeah. And then I remember as a kid, there were a couple of times where I was sitting in the living room, and whether this was my imagination and I was hallucinating and I was delusional, I would see like the portal open, like there's like a wormhole.
Really?
Yeah, you know when they do like hypnotism videos? Yeah, I'd be seeing that like in the room, and it just like these different images and feelings, and I would just hear stuff, and I closed up my sensitivity at a young age just because I just didn't feel safe with it. And, you know, I just didn't know if people were really going to understand it. But my mom always understood me. So, you know,
Is your mother living?
Yeah, she's in LA.
Okay.
So, you know, I've just been able to integrate my personal experiences of spirituality and take them to the next level when I was 18.
You said
19.
it started coming back like this
18,
desire
19,
in you?
Yeah. Because I watched The Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Oprah's Secret came out, what, in 08?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, and they're talking about, and Beckwith was on it.
Right.
Yeah, and that whole video just kind of just made me realize, like, hey, I could really create my own reality.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I didn't like, and then I remember like doing some exercises, and then it would manifest that day.
So explain, like, create your own reality and the exercises.
So with The Secret, they say the law of attraction is about meditating and envisioning what you want. And some exercises they do, or they were, you know, showing, were that if you were to meditate on how the day were to go early in the morning for about 20, 30 minutes, and just to see like how the day goes, you review the calendar, you review your experience of the day, you release any doubts or fears that are in the space, that you could attract what you envision in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember doing these exercises in the morning, and I would attract, or things would happen based off of how I envisioned it early in that morning.
And I bet you would surrender it. You'd just let it go. Like you would, in terms of like, you'd have the vision.
Yeah.
And then you
gotta
let it go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably have to be like, oh, damn, that was, it would always be those moments where like, damn, I did meditate in the morning and this did happen. Like, but it wouldn't be something like, oh, I hope this happens. I hope this happens. I hope I win the lotto. Like, no. It's really in this game of surrender.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing in manifestation, is letting go.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when you do The Secret, it's really, that's only part one of this game or this energy work, because The Secret is all about manifesting the life that you want, right? But it doesn't deal with like the stuff that comes behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it doesn't deal with the stuff of like where, you know, the things that you want might be inauthentic, or they might not really be aligned for you, or that there's issues that you need to deal with, but the things that you want are there to cover the issues.
Right.
So I'm really present in the spiritual realm about what are we doing to cover the pain, and what are we doing to directly go to the pain and heal it.
And so how has that worked for you personally with yourself?
In my journey, I've been having to really confront dark insecurities and fears about moving forward in this career of mine. I think a lot of my fears are based off of, you know, just doubts about how is the world going to take this? Is the world ready for it? And, you know, I guess there is like a fear of holistic doctors being sabotaged. I think there are fears with going out there and maybe swaying people away from Western medicine. I'm really just creating a way for people to work on themselves. So I literally had to go into my root chakra and get present to all the fears about just not wanting to move forward with my career, and seeing how I was resisting and saying no. And I was like trying to manifest other jobs and think about other stuff, you know, so I could avoid this. But that took like a few years, because, I worked at Delta. I was an Uber driver.
Really? Well, so you're born and raised in LA?
Yeah, and then I moved to New York, and then I moved to Atlanta, and then I moved back to LA.
You went to Georgia State, right?
I went to Georgia State, yeah. Okay. I went to BMCC for my community college in New York, and then I went to Georgia State in Atlanta.
What did you major in?
Journalism, focused on broadcast. So it was broadcast, telecom.
You were going to live in the regular world and
I thought I was going to work for CNN. I thought I was going to do all these things. I thought I was going to, be a CNN anchor. And I took a ethics class, and that ethics class made me see some real stuff about. It actually helped me wake up more to like the media world.
So how so?
For the masses, I feel like a lot of this stuff is sensationalized. And I'm not saying you need to be out there and be ignorant about what's going on in the world. I mean, we should know, but frankly, in our country, we don't actually really know what's really going on. If anything, we don't really know what's going on in other countries as well. I think we're very ignorant to real harsh realities of truth. And you be watching TV, and then they gonna have some headlines about what's going on with the Kardashians. So that's what I mean by pineal gland.
Yeah. Well, so I like to ask people these healing questions before we end. But before I go to those, I want to go back to the trainer part of what you do, because I want to make sure I understand and everyone understands. So because you blend in your energy work with training.
Right.
Could you explain that a little bit?
So before every soul workout, we meditate, and we meditate into the body. And then we're going to see where the body is tense, or where the body feels numb, or just things that are out of alignment. And then ensuring that you can do a workout, we could either foam roll, do an SMR, which is myofascial release, to release the muscle. So this would be like a light massage, or have you get a ball and for you to roll it out. And then I'll ask you, what's going on in that area? What do you feel? And then I ask you, well, what are some of the things that you want in your body? And then we get clear on what the mission is and what the goal is, and what the blocks are from getting them, and where those blocks are in the body. So the workouts that deal with solar plexus, like core workout, we're going to deal with like self-esteem issues, self-worth issues. And as I lead you through this workout, I'm going to have you meditate as you work out.
How does that work?
I mean, I'm having, like, for instance,
like they're
a punch.
focused? Go ahead.
So, like, think about if we were to do a punching exercise, if I were to say, okay, let's shadow box for a minute, I'd have you get present to the thing that angers you most. And then
I like that.
Yeah. And I'll have you increase the energy, like intensify it.
So then the person will put more energy into the boxing.
And also
the shadow
energetically
boxing.
Release it in the shadow box. Energetically release the anger that's there, so they don't have to hold on to it. Not to say that they need to dump it onto the person, but they can just at least release it to the universe.
And so if a person comes to you for that, would they likely see you for 6 weeks or something, or would it be one session, or how?
So for a soul workout, or if you're doing the fitness training program, I have different packages. I have 3 months, I have 5 months, and I have 12 months. So these are just different, ways for you to, like if you're interested in a 3-month package, I could just run down all the basics with you, and we could meet a goal, but I could at least give you the material on what you need to do, on working out, on meditating, and how to integrate fitness and meditation. Like the longer months, like the 6 months, the year, those are people who want to consistently work out with me, or just want to like have someone to work with, or someone that could keep them accountable.
Do other people do that? I mean, are there other trainers like you out there? I haven't heard of this before. I mean, this is common?
No, I think it's starting
to become more.
Yeah, I mean, in LA, a lot of people are spiritual, and there are some personal trainers that are spiritual, but I'm integrating energy medicine into it. So as of now, I'm one of the few. I mean, I don't know anyone personally. I'm sure there are, but
are most of because I think of you in terms of the energy healing that you've given to me. Is it like half and half with your clients, or it's a mixed bag?
Well, yeah, it's a mixed bag. I mean, because I do have such an array of services. I have the phone session, I have the in-person session, then I have the personal training session. And there's 3 different ways for you to really release energy. But some people, hey, they just want to come for me, and if you're a person looking for a personal trainer to deliver certain results, such as sports performance, or, bikini contest, or like people who have different goals, there will be other personal trainers that are better than me, because they might want to do something based off of like strictly looks, diet, people that know like real logical, real things to help you lose weight. There are other trainers that are better than me in that. But if you're someone who is spiritual and needs to work out, I could help you find the business. So if you want to meditate and work out, and you want to find a way where you could do both all at once in one time in a day, instead of separating your workout and your meditation time, I could provide that for you.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So, okay, here are my healing questions. How would you describe your knowing or perception of God?
In stillness, in emptiness, there's this space in emptiness where it's like empty and meaningless, when things are just empty and meaningless.
Empty, meaningless.
And meaningless. And it's just like this complete sense of peace, like this profound sense of quiet, like emptiness. And in those spaces of light, like light reaching emptiness. And yeah, it's like, what do you mean, Kev? Emptiness? The hell?
No, I get it.
Yeah, I know you get it, bro. I'm talking about the people that, you know, in the space, whether you meditate or you're going through something intense or whatever, there are these moments where things slow down and things get quiet and the voice isn't babbling its mouth, and you just feel this profound sense of open emptiness. And there's something that occurs in that, and I know that I've experienced light in those spaces.
And I think of that as nothing matters but love.
But love.
That's what that's been my experience of feeling that purity that you're talking about.
Yeah, because love and God, they're on the same frequency. So it is a profound sense of love when you are in this space of purity and emptiness, or this ability to surrender. So yeah, I'd say emptiness, love, and light. I feel the most presence of God when I get to finish something, like when I get to resolve something, when I get to really make things clear, and then I rebuild a relationship with someone, or I end things peacefully with someone, or when we experience this sense of like realization, this actualization, this self-realization. And there's like these profound moments that I know that I have when I experience this gratitude from knowing that I did what I had to do. Whether that was like a conversation, or whether that was a healing, or whether I had to go heal myself. But doing the work makes me closer to God.
What do you think your purpose is?
I know I have multiple purposes in this life, but I know that I'm here to bridge gaps in communities. You know, I am Korean, but you know, I also speak fluent Spanish, and I also am in the Black fraternity.
Right, you're an Omega Psi Phi, right?
Yeah, and the brothers from Georgia State, Zeta Theta, Spring 12. So I'm having to really get how I'm like, okay, I'm doing energy healing too. So with all
what
these
is that?
different,
What is all
what
this
the hell
about?
going on? So I'm, you know, still finding a space where I'm here to like, I'm really here to really bring awareness to spaces that have been very dark for people, and to just help people clear their shit in different ways.
You embody our tagline for Let's Start Healing, which is we have more in common than we think.
Yeah.
And what we have in common can change the world.
Yeah. I like that.
So, yeah, you embody that.
Thank you.
So, tell me about a time when you had a miracle or a blessing and you said, God totally did this. I had nothing to do with it.
So recently, you know, I gave my kidney to my dad. You know, that was a very intense journey for me, because before the surgery, or before leading up to the surgery, there was a lot of unknown whether he was going to be approved or not.
And this was something that you had planned for
3 years. We were doing this for 3 years.
He needed a new kidney.
He needed a new kidney. He was on dialysis for 2.5 years. So being in dialysis is not easy. And he was he looked like he was about to go, honestly, and I was scared. That's why I didn't travel all last year. That's why I didn't come to Atlanta last year at all. And I usually come to Atlanta like 3-4 times a year.
Right.
And
how old is your dad?
He's 74, 75. I knew deeply inside, I was like, my dad would definitely done it for me. And there's just something that, I want to respect and do for my father. So pretty much for 3 years, but most recently the last year or two.
And this surgery was 2 months ago?
Yeah, on August 6th. But mind you, up till July 5th, we didn't know it was going to happen or not, because we were taking tests and they kept saying no. And they're like, so we took like 4 to 5 tests. I took tests, he took tests, but he kept failing the tests, or like the doctors weren't approving him. So we thought we were going to do the surgery August of last year. But when he failed the test, we were being denied. And UCLA finally said, okay, well, by June or July, if he is approved, then we'll let him do it.
And I mean, he must have been through some emotional ups and
downs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he'd have nightmares every night. It was bad. Right. Like the whole family was going through it. It was really hard because my mom's really close to my dad, and I just feel like it would have crushed a lot of things. So I just made sure that I could do my best to step up. So I made sure that I passed all the tests, which I did, because you have to be really healthy to donate a kidney. And, if you have issues with blood pressure, issues with cholesterol, they will not accept you. But with my dad, he had specific issues because of the dialysis and the fluid. And he couldn't urine for a whole year. So because of all that, I was in this high state of like, okay, either my dad gonna die, or I'm gonna give this kidney, or I'm not gonna be able to give this, and I'm gonna be a hot mess, and I'm gonna hate the universe, and I just didn't know what to do. And and I did my rituals and I did my prayers. I had my altar for him, but the miracle happened when we finally went to the doctor's office, and they said, well, he has been, the water levels have been pretty healthy for the last 4 or 5 months. So we're going to go ahead and clear him. And then we had 3 weeks to prepare. So yeah, it was like it was a year of a hard no. And then 3 weeks before the surgery, it's like, okay, y'all, get ready.
And
so it was like, okay, that's
what. Were you afraid?
There was fear, but this is what I wanted.
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah. And I kept telling people about it, and I was like, hoping that the more I shared, the more the quicker it happened. Because, those little manifestation techniques, you're like, share a possibility or something. So I was just sharing with people like, yeah, I'm going to give my dad a kidney, but it wasn't happening. So I was like, dang, is dad not going to get my kidney? Is this the end? This is how it's going to end? And I felt so guilty too, because I was like, damn, I don't want my dad to go out like that.
Well, I don't know where the guilt would come from. You're doing what you can.
Well, I think, I don't know, that's Korean programming thing. We all have stuff from our parents, but the guilt came from not being able to provide for my dad and not having the access to do that. So the miracle came 3 weeks before the surgery, a month before the surgery. It was 3 weeks when they said, they went from a hard no to yeah, out of nowhere. Your
recovery has been incredible.
Amazing, yeah.
I mean, if anything, I thought, oh, you probably would lose a lot of weight.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So what about your dad? I mean, is he doing really well?
Yeah, he gained weight.
He did?
Yeah, he gained a lot of weight. So he's good.
He's feeling well.
He's feeling well. He's urinating now. He's walking around. He's, in a lot happier mood.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, my dad could be a little cranky. So he just seems a lot happier.
Oh my gosh. He must just be glowing when he looks at you.
Yeah, he's so proud.
Yeah, that's
he's real
beautiful.
Happy, very grateful. Just being able to do that for my father. And he was a good dad. And, that's one thing I can't say about my dad, is that my dad was there and he showed up. So it's time for me to show up. Wow.
Okay, last question. I've been accused by family of telling people the answer to this question. So I'm going to let you tell me.
Sure.
Are you a healer or a seeker or both?
I'm both.
You're both.
I'm always seeking. I'm never in a space of like just. I'm always questioning, even things I question. Not from an unstable place where I'm constantly in my mind, but I do it energetically to keep it open.
Right.
Because I don't want to be rigid, or I don't want my energy to be compartmentalized. And I notice that could happen.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
To keep asking the question, even if you think you're sure you know the answer.
Question it, yeah. Question your beliefs. Just question it, because some of your beliefs might really be part of your illusion. It might be fucking you up, and I had learned that. That some of the beliefs they're not interested in this, and I'm gonna look stupid. I'm gonna look crazy. I'm gonna look like the voodoo man. Right, they think that this and that. They think that what I do is a joke, and then I show up and I'm doing profound healings on people.
Yeah, there's no denying what a person accesses within themselves through a session with you.
Right.
The proof is from inside of them.
Yeah, that's the work that I do, or that we do. Is we do the work.
Yeah.
We're doing the inner work.
Yeah, the proof is from inside.
Inside, it's a being. So that's the world I want to stay in terms of helping people at the soul level, is really going within.
Yeah.
Because you know how religion kind of takes you out.
Exactly.
And now you gotta find that source to get this, and
right.
And no, my work is about let's just go inside the body.
Right. And so for
the soul.
I call that going inside is the relationship. For me, that is the relationship with God.
Yes.
Versus outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to add on to that what I said, because my experience of emptiness happens when I feel the emptiness inside my body. And when I'm there, I'm in a whole nother dimension, but I feel like I'm in a dimension within.
So the things that you have seen, the visions, the dimensions, do you have a sense that you can describe of God's world, eternity?
The other side?
Yeah. Do you have a sense of that?
I've seen images, but I mean, I don't have a concrete sense, no.
Okay.
Concrete senses come from deja vu moments. So I get a lot of like, oh, this happened before. Or I get these moments of like these really intense dreams. But I don't know if that's because if you're talking about that, then we're going to say that these are all dimensions, and these are all different experiences, and that there's one home base that we go to. And that's like the other side, right? And then after that, you could go into the next simulation, or you could go into the next video game. And they're all saying that this is like one video game.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that I don't know if,
you've seen, what the place is.
The places.
How to define it, yeah.
I don't know if that's the dream, another dimension world, or if that's the source world.
Right.
Because really, the work that we do, there is one connection to source. So I guess we all go to the source at the end. But, I mean, there's no end. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of this life. So my images of these dimensions could possibly be just other dimensions that I tap into when I'm when I go to source and travel.
This is the second week in a row I've had this kind of conversation
about the simulation.
About these other dimensions, other universes. Yeah. Sparked a thought in me about my higher self. Because, we talk about how we all have a higher self. And so it occurred to me, let me put it this way. I have a spiritual relationship with my parents, my brother, who have passed on. And so the idea that's coming to me is, if they were reincarnated, that's interesting, because I still have a relationship with them, a spiritual relationship that comes through God. Right. That's real. Right. So if, let's say for the sake of argument, they were reincarnated, I must have a higher self in heaven that I can connect with. Right. So just as I may engage with them, or I may engage with God, I can engage with my higher self. Right. So this morning I was like, wow, I wonder what that being is like,
What, the higher self?
Yeah, my higher self.
I feel like the higher self could almost be like this very neutral space. And we have to go these different bodies or these different lives to have the different expressions that make us up. But, I mean, I've had premonitions in these dimensions, they sometimes offer premonitions. Because I've had these dimension travel meditations where I knew that I was gonna donate a kidney 3 years before
it even came
up. I'm not a kidney, but I saw in my meditation someone holding a body organ of mine, and the doctor was holding it, but it looked like it was like a ritual from another life. It looked like it wasn't from this life. But then I didn't know at that time my dad had kidney failure or he had kidney disease. Like, this wasn't an issue. But then when the meditation come up, I was like, what the hell is this shit? That's not the shit I want. Because at that time I was practicing positive meditations. I was like, well, I need to envision the life I want to create, and I'm not going to, so let's just do positive things to create that. And let's express gratitude. But I kept seeing this image of this doctor holding it was like a heart or it was something. And then, it was like a year after when they're like, Dad needs a kidney.
And you knew.
Yeah, I was like, oh, damn. That's what Spirit was trying to tell me. It was trying to warn me. Trying to protect me. It was trying to prep me. But I'm saying that these images that I get, or sometimes you get, that you don't even know.
Right.
Our messages sometimes.
And we should trust those.
Yeah,
trust our spirit.
Trust spirit. I mean, there might always be that voice that sounds like the devil, but there's also your gut. And you know that there's a difference. You could once you practice, there's a difference.
Right.
And intuitively, I've just noticed that when I get these images or when I get these messages, that I filter it to see if this is my own ego projecting it or not. And I know when it's spirit talking, and that was spirit when I had that premonition.
And if we're just learning this, what we can do is just be observant.
Yeah.
Just don't act on anything. Just kind of
just be, let it pass, observe it, accept it. And then with what you have the choice to do what you do.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a great podcast. I had a really good time.
Me too. Thank you for joining us. Visit Kevin Koh's Soul Body LA website at soulbodyla.com. That's SOULBODYLA.com. Email Kevin at KOHKEVIN@gmail.com or call 213-500-8566. Remember to subscribe to our podcast, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, send me that email at letstarthealingpodcast@gmail.com. Let's start healing.